Just thought I'd do a little video today, thinking about a lot of things, pondering, reflecting. Been doing a lot of reading in this new year. Isn't that kind of an oxymoron? New year. Don't you wish? Don't you wish it was a new year? Lots of stuff coming up this year. Couple things I wanted to talk about. I don't know what I'm going to name this video. Could be anything, actually. Couple of things that I was thinking about was I heard talk of secession of different states, and I've been watching. You know me, I like to watch a lot of old westerns and stuff, and that stuff just seems to come right up in synchronicity with what I hear. In fact, that's kind of how my life works, is every time I think about something, it usually pops up in some kind of media somewhere for confirmation of my creative powers. Secession, well, yeah. You know, when you think about that, you look at the Civil War and the secession of the states back then, and everybody thinks, oh yeah, that was all about slavery and that was all about this and all about... No, it wasn't about that at all. Could have been a little bit about that, but generally speaking, it was more about getting separated from the feds, from the government. It wasn't so much about slavery. Yeah, that entered into it, but the North had slaves too, so that doesn't wash, not really. In fact, the South probably treated their slaves better than the North did, and they treated them a lot of times like part of the family, married, intermarried with them, and all kinds of things. So both the North and South had slaves, so that's not really relevant. Okay, what is relevant is that old term, the South shall rise again. Well, you never know. You never know. Because I just saw a thing recently, a poll, where there's a huge migration taking place from states like, I guess from what I saw on the map, it was the western and some of the states like California, Nevada, New Mexico even, a lot of migration heading down south. Why? Because the South is tending to be more free. I mean, as far as, all these mandates and all this bullshit that's going on right now. So I wouldn't, and you know, this, I'm using a little bit of my intuitive powers here about seeing into the future and stuff, which I got a pretty good percentage rate on. I mean, after all, I did a video on the upcoming medical crisis and the pointy things, okay, that are associated with that. I did a video on that in 2014, so I can see into the future at times. Certain powers that I have, and they're not my powers, they're just something that you attain through working the right, let's say, psychic muscles. How's that? Working the right psychic muscles. I wouldn't doubt that we would see something of that sort coming up here real soon. The migration, now from what I saw, there was like close to 500,000 people that migrated from the rest of the United States. Again, from the coast, New York, California, up in the Northeast area, close to 700,000, I think, migrated. So that means that there's certain states that have more of a free thinking or a freedom type aspect of thinking with all these mandates and lockdowns and the horrendous shit that's going on now. They are more into, nope, not going to do that. And so naturally, people that are sick of the shit are going to gravitate towards those states. And those states could pop up anywhere. Hell, I saw a thing where I think it was Oregon or Washington was trying to annex itself to some county in Idaho. I don't know how they do that stuff, but when you think about the history of this country, with Texas at one time being part of Mexico, and then you had the Battle of the Alamo, and you had Sam Houston and that whole affair, and Texas became a republic, not part of the United States like most people think. Texas became a republic, and then later on it joined the United States, just like California. I know the lighting in here isn't the greatest, people, but you know what? I just work with what I have. I'm not one of these, people like the truthers, these guys, they're sitting in their big chair and they got this big giant dildo of a microphone in front of them, and they got to have all the trappings. I got a little condenser mic and I'm sitting in my man cave here. That's about it, and that's all you're going to get. I'm not into this big production stuff. I think my words are adequate for my self-worth and my image, if there is such a thing. So that's one thing that I was thinking about, the secession thing, and I think that's entirely possible, and I'd be all for it myself. Hell, go for it. People seceding from the government, breaking up the government, basically breaking up the federal stronghold, the federal iron fist. Okay, that would be great as far as I'm concerned. Go for it. I'm all for it. Now, the other thing I was thinking about is how insignificant all of this shit really is. Yeah, I jumped from one level right on up to as high as you can get. That's the shaman's way. How insignificant all this shit is in comparison to how long mankind has been on Earth. And if you look at the archaeological diggings and the migration patterns of, let's say, our ancestors, I can definitely say my ancestors, I will relate to them as my ancestors. There were people on this continent. See, this is the thing that I was thinking about. Much ado about nothing. There are people on this continent. Let me see if I can. Let me just tone down this lighting a bit. Let's see. Yeah, is it working or is it not working? There you go. A little bit of a glare there. There were people that were on this continent in a migrational pattern 12,000 years ago. We're talking the indigenous people of this continent, North America. We're talking 12,000, and even they have discovered some remains from cities and stuff or certain areas that had remains of animals and humans and pottery and that kind of stuff down in Mexico, 130,000 years. 130,000 years. And 12,000, let's just say, is a round number. Let's just say recently, okay, 12,000 years of indigenous people on this land. So America, here we are, America has only been in existence since, what, 1776? Go figure that one out compared to now. What's that, a few hundred years? Few hundred years in the scope of ancient ancestors having been here and having done things that were more unbelievable that you can imagine. And here we are in the last 600-700 years, and like, what a mess. What a mess. What a fucking mess, okay? Now the Hopi, and I am real big into the Hopi, got several books out even based on the Hopi, and their migration patterns in North America and their prophecy and their mythology, which isn't mythology at all, but is bearing out to be truthful according to the archaeological digs and the migration patterns in North America and South America and all shores, okay? Yeah, people they don't have a clue as to where things are going because they can't look into the past and see that there's strong evidence of not only migration patterns, but collapses of civilizations, intermixing of civilizations, technology that was unbelievable. I'm talking about, everybody thinks, that this technology that we have nowadays is way far ahead of everything, man. I got news for you. It isn't even scratching the surface of what our ancient ancestors were connected with, okay? And I'm talking about Star Brothers and the stars and Orion and the star Sirius and the whole cults and clans based on movements of the stars. The biggest one being the Snake Clan, or the most important one in my mind would be the Snake Clan, because there's evidence of that everywhere, okay? Around the world, talk about a migration pattern. Just like the swastika. See, the swastika doesn't come from Nazi Germany. They're Johnny-come-latelys. That thing has been around, that emblem is on all kinds of pottery and gourds and rattles and goes way, way back into the millennia. So that swastika is the migration pattern that spread out around the world and specifically for this country spread from shore to shore to shore, east to west, north to south, clear down into Mexico and clear up into the land bridge in Aleutian Islands and Alaska and Antarctica and way up there. So these Johnny-come-lately Americans, okay, who think that they're all high and mighty with their politics and their country and their constitution and all this stuff, has only been in existence for like a nanosecond compared to what's been going on before. So people wonder sometimes, well, what's in store for the planet? What's in store for, excuse me, I need my water, but it's in the canteen back there. What's been going on before, before is going to tell you what's going to happen in the future, and so the way I see it is the Hopi and all these prehistoric finds add up to the fact that there has been, according to the Hopi, we're in the fourth world, so there were 3 worlds before the world we're in. By world, what do I mean? Well, I mean civilizations, worlds, kind of like what we're in now, the fourth world. Those were completely destroyed, wiped clean, or almost clean. There have always been a few straggling survivors with natural events. I'm talking about floods and comets and fires and ice ages and different things that put an end to one world and then started another world. We're long overdue. Just so you know, we're long overdue in the calculation of timing here. We're long overdue, and we're due for another emergence, and that will be into the 5th world. Why am I talking about this? Well, because when I'm talking about looking at the year to come, by all signs that I can read, and by my own intuitive feeling and by my own wisdom and knowledge, I'm just going to say we're long overdue. We're long overdue. It could happen in a heartbeat. It could happen overnight. I've talked about this stuff before. I've talked about the magnetic pole shift. I've talked about X-class flares. I've talked about natural disasters, natural EMPs. Oh hell, I'm on my shortwave radio, and there's people up in Idaho and Montana prepping, putting guns and ammo and food away, and trying to secure certain things against an EMP, like building a Faraday cage, which is basically kind of what I'm in here in this metallic container, to protect your electronic gear, or at least have a radio to be able to talk out to somewhere else on the earth. It's way overdue, people, this, I'm not going to say cataclysmic event, or I'm not going to say end of the world, or doom and gloom, or any of that kind of stuff. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a major transition. And like I said before, it could very well be dimensional, a dimensional transition. A lot of people talk about, the 3rd and 4th and 5th dimensions, but they don't know a thing about it. They think they do, but they don't. They don't go there. They haven't, I'm in the 5th dimensional consciousness, really? Then why are you saying some of the stupid fucking things you're saying? These alternative people, they're so far behind. They're so far behind the 8 ball as far as what they think is going on. It's hilarious. It's actually pretty fucking funny. Got still people buying into the same narratives that started 3 years ago. All these people. Come to me and listen to what I have to say, and you're going to hear some real information, not just a rehash of stuff over and over and over, and this is going to happen, and the military's in control, and Trump this and Trump that. Oh, by the way, since my last video on is Trump dead, and if he's not dead, he's a traitor, and since then, what did he come out and say and really verify and everything? Oh, you got to go out there and take this medicine in the form of, you know what I'm talking about. So all these people that were like, oh yeah, man, he's going to save us all. Really? Really? Guess that confirmed what I said, didn't it? So, much ado about nothing. Much ado about nothing. Hell, we could all get wiped off the planet and civilization could start over again, and I wouldn't fucking care. I wouldn't. What's to fear? The only thing that puts a cramp in my style are these assholes out there trying to act like they're important. Act like what they say or do about mankind has any relevance whatsoever. It has no relevance whatsoever. None. Not a zilch. In comparison to the history of man and in comparison to what's going to happen, oh, there is going to be a natural occurrence. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of when. But you see things now. You see signs, okay, in portents of the earth, Mother Earth, like I talked about before, who is a conscious, alive, spiritual entity, part of the great overall order of things, okay, an important part because we're living on her. Oh, she's gonna throw a fit here real soon, because all of this stuff that's going on in the world is just like, you know, it's like locusts to her. It's like flies. It's like, enough of this, okay? Enough of this. That's Mother Earth's attitude, okay? And I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Whatever Mother decides is okay with me. Because really, we're nothing in the scope of things. We're insignificant. We're nothing. It matters not. There's bones of our relatives that are 12,000, 130,000 years old. But getting back to the technological thing, I don't want to let that drop, is their technology in some of these former civilizations is what destroyed them. I want you to think about that a while. Their technology was advanced. Hell, they could travel out of the realm of the earth into different star systems. They had associations. But see, their technology was based more on psychic power, coupled with, okay, some of the incoming, I'll say, innovations and incoming help and incoming knowledge and wisdom from other sources. The Hopi and the Pueblo people, they call them Star Brothers. These may be different than the Archons, which are a benevolent force, malevolent force. There may be benevolent in the systems like the Orion's belt and the Pleiades, or the Chute, the Pleiades, the harmonious ones. There's a lot going on here on other levels People are all worried about going to Starbucks or, going to vote for their favorite guy or gal, or is this person going to save our ass or that. It's all such tripe. It's all such tripe, really. It's all about fear of death and fear of this and fear of that. And you can control us if you want, because if you can save our ass, well then, if we can overcome this and that, forget about it. You're going down anyway unless you're in the right state of mind, in the right level of consciousness, and in the right frequency. Okay, and what do I mean by frequency? Frequency, I mean by doing a shape shift with your aura and your physical body to get ready for what's going to come. You actually have to do a shape shift, okay? You have to do your spiritual practices, and you have to gain the knowledge that it takes. You may never get it. You may never get it. Sorry to say. Unless you're doing spiritual practices daily, unless you're doing prayer and ritual and preparation on a mental, physical, and spiritual level, you're not going to know what hits you. You're not going to know what hits you. You're not going to be ready for it. Because that is going to be, for those of us who are ready for it, well, that's going to be a wonderful feeling and day. Okay? It's going to be a wonderful feeling and a wonderful day. Or a wonderful lifetime. Each lifetime is a day. Each day is a lifetime. That's the way you got to look at things. You get up in the morning and you're born. You go to bed at night and you die. And then you wake up in the morning again and you're born again. Born again. Each day is a lifetime, okay? And each lifetime has a beginning and an end. And that's how life is in general. Okay? You got to be prepared, people, or you're not going to understand what's going on. I could just say you're not going to make it. How's that? You're not going to make it, because to me, making it is understanding what the transition is and how it's coming about and how you are going to emerge on the other side. Okay. That's what I'm talking about here. So those are the two things that I was kind of thinking about here. On the lower mundane level, I see a migrational pattern. Well, that's just kind of goes with history. It just kind of the migrations of history, okay? You're going to see different energies erupt, okay, like we're experiencing now, this dark, hateful, pandemic-oriented, mind-oriented. Got to ask yourself, how long do these things last? Or can they just make them last forever? Well, not in history they didn't. If you look at history, things don't last forever. And if they're going on a little bit too long, you got to start scratching your head and going, how long can this shit go on? The never-ending enemy, like I said in my last video. So, look at it for what it is. It's just tripe. It's hogwash. And these conflicting narratives going back and forth about what's going to happen or what isn't going to. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Detach from it. Mother Earth is going to take care of it. Or you'll meet your maker one way or another. Whatever. You ain't going to be here anymore. So why worry? That's my point here is why worry about anything? Why worry about anything? Life is like the natives say, a flash of a firefly in the night. That's what it is. You've been here before and you'll be here again. And then you'll leave and you'll be here again. Till you get it right. But while we're here in this dimension, you have to be ready for the next shift because school is letting out. School's letting out and you're either going to graduate or you're not going to graduate. You need to think about these things, people, and quit being so all fired, preoccupied with bullshit. So yeah, I thought I'd just do a little short video here. I don't want to keep it too long, and I guess I'll just leave it there. Things to think about. I'm always got an interesting thing to think about, don't I? Adios.